Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. So, I think as business owners, we all want to grow, but have you noticed that growth sometimes has a way of exposing the cracks in your business? More customers can create more complexity, more revenue can create more inefficiency. And without the right systems in place, access to capital or the latest technology will not solve underlying problems. Today's guest believes sustainable growth happens when strategy, operations, funding, and technology all work together. And she's helping entrepreneurs rethink how they build businesses by combining AI, automation, and capital into a smarter, more scalable growth strategy. Joining us is Cheryl Tibbs, business growth strategist, founder of the Fractional CAO, and an expert in helping businesses scale through operational excellence and technology driven innovation. Cheryl, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is a phenomenal topic, one that I'm excited about. So I'm looking forward to, just this conversation and yeah, let's see what we can bring to the audience.
So, Cheryl, I think most advisors tend to specialize in just one area, like funding, operations, technology, but you've built your business around bringing all three of those together. Why do you think that combination is so important for business owners today?
Well, I've been in the finance space for probably almost 30 years. So I've seen everything. I know the pain points on both sides of the table from the finance advisor perspective and the business owner perspective. I own three businesses, so I see both sides. So what I do is I build AI machines or systems that can marry with finance because here's what I know. Most finance folks, they don't know AI, and most AI folk, they don't know finance. And for me, I live in both worlds. So I have the vision to see both. And I think it's important that we somehow marry the two because, as you well know, AI isn't coming, AI is here, and it's moving faster than probably anything we've ever seen in our lifetime.
So, when a new client comes to you and they're looking to grow, where do you start first? Do you start on funding, systems, strategy? Walk us through your thought process.
Okay. As a fractional chief AI officer, the first thing that we do is we do an AI audit. I want to know where the company is in relation to their data, their systems, their processes. How does all of that work? So when we send out a link and this is our AI audit, it doesn't really talk about AI. It more or less asks them questions about their processes and their systems. So when we get that back, I'm able to score it against what I'm able to do to know what AI systems I can actually build and integrate for that particular business to show them a return on the investment, to save hours, to save money, whatever the business may need. And because I'm in funding, I'm able to throw funding in there as well and have a dual process, if you will, going.
So, as a fractional chief automation officer, how is that different then, since you're focused on systems, from having just a traditional consultant or even a COO come in, as COOs are focused on operations? How does
Yeah,
that?
they are. However, most of them don't know AI systems. They know how to scale, but what makes me different is that my specialty is AI systems, and I've got certifications, AI certifications behind me for the different types of systems that we can employ. For example, a COO may come in and say, oh, we can scale here and we can do this and we can do that. But I can come in and show that same business and even that COO how to actually use some type of AI system to save them hours and probably a lot of money in the process.
So you feel that AI directly impacts the company's cash flow or bottom line. You're not just bringing it in to make their teams more efficient.
Absolutely. I think it's both. I think it improves the bottom line because if you can find bottlenecks in which AI systems usually do, and you can fix those bottlenecks, that saves time and that saves money.
Can you give us an example of, no names, of course, but can you
Mhm.
give us an example scenario that you've seen in the last year where you were able to step in, what the situation was, the systems you brought in to fix it, and what the result was?
Oh, absolutely. I work with a hotel management company. They reached out because all of their processes were archaic. Everything was on Excel spreadsheets. A lot of paperwork, Google Drive here, Google Drive there, just so many different folders, just a whole lot of things that were scattered. And this is a pretty large hotel management firm, but how their databases and all of that stuff, it was just archaic. So I actually came in and we systemized everything. We created a dashboard, if you will, where the owner could log in and she could see everything just right there, getting up to date every morning. What is happening in this department? What's happening in that department? See all of their investments. So no longer is everything on Google spreadsheets, and Google spreadsheets are wonderful. We use them for years, but there's a better way. You can actually AI Google spreadsheets now and be able to get all of that data. So just having that data in front of her every morning, she's able to see exactly what every department is doing. We wired it into every department so that she knows exactly where the revenue, if there are revenue leaks, where those leaks are. She can see all of the hotels that they manage, what's happening with those hotels, just in one real nice package instead of having to go to all these different places on their computer to be able to see that stuff.
So you mentioned earlier that you think AI, I mean, it's here, it's moving incredibly fast.
Mhm.
Do you have any examples of any businesses that you felt were trying to automate too much too soon?
But I can give you an example of my own business. Sometimes I have shiny object syndrome. And with all the new tools that come out every day, there's thousands that come out a week. I want to try everything because I work with small business owners, medium-sized business owners, and just the everyday person in implementing AI tools and systems into their life and into their business. So I have to know how everything works. And sometimes I get carried away because I say, oh, this tool, or I can build this, and this tool, or I could build that. So I think we have to, and this is what I tell students, because I also teach AI. I tell my adult learners, figure out your bottleneck. Start there. Once you figure out your bottleneck, then we're able to look at the AI tool, or maybe not a whole lot of tools, but one or two that can actually help you with your bottleneck, and just stay focused there. I give them advice that I don't follow in my own businesses because, again, I need to know how this stuff works. And I think if they stay right there, figure out their bottleneck, we work through that together. If it's Claude, if it's Grok, if it's, whatever it is, use that tool to help you become more proficient in your business. And that takes away the desire, I think, to want to try all this different stuff that comes out. You've got something that's working for you.
I think shiny object syndrome is actually a real thing. There's so many flavors
Yeah.
of AI. I almost feel like the word AI means everything and nothing
Uh-huh.
all at the
Uh-huh.
same time because you have to focus it through a specific lens. You have to
Hmm.
give it context.
Hmm.
So I love that you're looking at that. So within all of these exercises that you're running, not just with companies but with your students, can you give us an example of an area where you've coached a business not to automate something?
Hmm. Um, well, I really can't think of anything where I coach them not to automate something because that is my part of, one of the companies that I own is we are an automations company. And from the businesses I work with, there's always a bottleneck somewhere. There's always something that can be automated. I'm just trying to think of when a business might not need automation. I just can't really think of anything because there are AI tools for every single thing that we do.
So
And I
maybe,
think with every, go ahead.
oh no, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, so maybe I can state it this way. If you were coaching them not to automate, it would be probably for an area of the business where you felt human touch was still very
Okay,
essential.
absolutely. And I do that a lot with finance brokers. And I can give you a perfect example there. I'm glad you clarified that. I had a broker reach out to me and he said, hey, I want you to build me an AI loan officer that does everything. I said, that does everything. He's like, yeah, I want it to do everything. I want it to go out there and get me leads. I want it to talk to the customer. I want it to qualify the customer. I want it to send the customer an application. I want it to take that application and underwrite it and then send it to the lender. I said, brother, you're dreaming. That is probably something that you can build, but would I advise to build that? Absolutely not. And that's the conversation. Fintech is kind of my lane. I see more finance broker clients than any clients that I work with. And that is that human in the loop. Once you get a customer on the hook, I think it's important for the human to step in and actually build a relationship with the prospect and close the deal, not have the AI you can do, I think you can do the pre-qualification maybe through email or text messaging, but when it comes to actually getting a customer in your pipeline, I think the human needs to actually step in and have a conversation with that customer.
I
There
couldn't
are
agree with you
companies
more.
out there that have the AI agents actually making the phone calls, actually talking to the customer, going through the process. I just don't think that that's wise. I think at that point, I wouldn't automate that part of it.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we have to hang on to the relationship because I think relationships are pivotal for everything. It's really what makes the world go round. We don't
Yeah.
want to lose our touch with humanity. So, considering that, then, what is like one simple automation that almost every business could implement today that you think could save them hours a week?
I think email triage. That's very simple. I've come across people with thousands of unread emails, and they have that little red blurb on their phone showing that they've got 20 million unread emails. Most are subscriptions, most are spam. You can actually do a very simple automation to have an agent triage your email, unsubscribe from all of those newsletters and spam items that come through. And that is probably the most simple automation that a business owner or just an average person who's not a business owner can do. Just free up the clutter.
Do you have a favorite tool that you recommend to clients for that?
Zapier. Zapier is a good tool. And then now Google has that integrated natively. I've tried to use it. I think it's still a work in process with Google, but Zapier is a good tool to be able to triage those emails. And Google itself, like I said, is coming along really nicely for you to be able to do that within Gmail. I see they've added a new section, AI info. It pulls all of the AI emails. The AI can summarize any emails that you want. I've had some issues with it, unsubscribing from newsletters for me. But again, Google is coming along. Microsoft, for those who use Outlook and Teams, they also have a native agent, if you will, that can triage those emails. So whatever email tool that you use, I would probably start there to see what they offer natively that can actually help with clearing the clutter.
I think that's such a great recommendation. I've actually seen colleagues' inboxes where there was like 20, 25,000 emails. I thought,
Yes.
my gosh, that would make me so nervous if I had that much email. But I
Mhm.
think a lot of it is like you say, it's spam, it's junk, it's
Mhm.
offers, it's
Mhm.
just things that you're not really concerned with. And it builds up over time. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it can be a real issue. So I want to switch gears and talk about funding and capital for a few minutes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you talked about, not viewing funding as a standalone solution. So how do
Mhm.
you align access to capital with operational systems so that businesses are really creating sustainable growth instead of just spending more money?
Funding is actually it's one of the things that we recommend. Once the audit comes in, my systems automatically look for funding opportunities. That's my lane. I've been doing that for 30 years, so I can't take that out of the picture. I've actually integrated that into when an audit is done, the agent knows to look for a bottleneck that can present a funding opportunity. So if I'm working with, I don't know, a construction company owner that's looking to maybe get rid of all of the spreadsheets and that type of thing that they have. We talk about equipment financing. We look at areas where equipment might can help improve the bottom line. We talk about restructuring current leases. We talk about term loans and that type of thing. So I'm always looking for funding opportunity, and that's built in natively to my outcome for a client.
Do you think there are certain types of businesses that are benefiting from that integrated approach of combining funding, AI, and operational strategy more than others?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, businesses like mine, any most funding businesses, if you've adopted some type of AI into your processes, and I get thousands of emails, and I see more and more brokers doing this, um, and you're able to offer that duality. Absolutely, absolutely, the benefit is huge. We've seen an increase in our originations for funding than we did pre AI by offering something else first. I think you offer the value of a free AI audit to see how we can, increase your bottom line or save you money. And then, by the way, the audit also showed us that you've got a leak there. You've got 6 or 7 pieces of equipment that are on lease. Let's look at maybe combining those leases and just restructuring those leases into one bank term loan. And clients are usually like, wow, I didn't know that I can do that. So finance people that are adopting AI, I think we're on to something.
What do you think the most significant contribution AI has made to date is for lending and for funding?
Speed. And we all in the finance industry know that, speed is what leads to funded deals. And I think we see that with our lead generations. We use AI to go out and prospect, and we see that now there are companies that are building underwriting tools that can actually take in an application and bank statements and merge those with databases and are able to do underwriting through AI. Back in the day when I was in the mortgage business, we had this thing called it was on the tip of my tongue. We could do that automated underwriting for mortgages. I can't think of the name of it, but it was fast. And so I think AI now has improved that type of underwriting to where it can actually look at and reason within itself to be able to see if the client is actually fundable. So that underwriting piece I think is huge. But I also think manual underwriting should also be an option. I think that human in the loop, and I've experienced that in some of our submissions, the AI will automatically decline it. And I'm looking at a deal like, but why? It doesn't make sense. So I want to move this to where we have an underwriter manually look at it. And I understand that finance companies are looking to save money. I mean, that's just kind of the name of the game, improving the bottom line. So you employ these AI strategies to be able to get decisions faster and close deals faster. However, at some point we may have to slow that down just a teeny bit and put that human in the loop where it's actually necessary and give a borrower or a broker the opportunity to have human eyes on their file, because with equipment financing, a lot of equipment financing is all about the story. And I don't think automated underwriting can tell the story like me getting on the phone with the actual underwriter saying, "Hey, here's the client story. They went through a divorce, and this, that, and the other happened, and that's why the credit suffered. But this is the justification for that. We've got substantial cash flows. So we can show better things when we're able to talk a little bit. So I think even with the automated underwriting, there still should be some element of manual underwriting available to the customer and the broker.
So if you've been working with a client and let's say client's got a great story, but maybe there is something there that needs to be explained and you're attempting to
Hmm.
get them funding, but they're being declined.
Hmm.
Can you see what's going on and what's happening? Or how do you know? And then how do you advise the client what steps they need to take from there?
Well, we find out from underwriting, and that's where the AI broker or the AI loan officer gets sat down and let the actual human step in. Talk to the underwriter. Why was, John's deal declined? Well, it was declined because of this, that, and the other. So again, I'm able to present that customer in a different light because I can tell their story. Now, if their story does not go over to be able to overturn a decline, then we're able to maybe use some AI. If it's credit, for instance, if there's some credit issues, there are AI tools now that will assist you with looking at what is it, FCRA laws and that type of thing, and tell you, look at your credit report, this, that, happen. Here's a letter you can send to the credit bureau to maybe increase your scores, get that relooked at. That looks like an error. AI can actually understand those credit laws and look at your credit report to determine that something, is not right, and help you compose a letter to send out. So that's one way. That's one thing I think that we can advise borrowers on, is to have the AI help them look at the credit report. Chat GPT has a new tool, of a finance tool, where it connects to Plaid. Plaid is the tool that a lot of people in the funding space use to verify what's happening in your bank account. So you may have stuff going on in your bank account that you can't really pinpoint. You can connect Chat GPT to your bank accounts using Plaid and have it give you a complete audit. So if you've got cash flow issues and you're not sure how to restructure those cash flow issues, Chat GPT can actually advise you on, well, this is happening and this is happening. Here's a leak. Here's a bottleneck. If you do this, or if you do this, or if you cancel this subscription that you didn't know you had, that gives you money back on your bottom line. So there are tools that are out there. I think that if once a customer's declined and we know the actual reason why, we can use those tools to try to overturn some of those things and then be able to get that customer funding.
So within the space where we have AI and it's involved in actually underwriting, when you see something come in and it is a decline, do you think there are a lot of lenders out there that are having that human in the loop for coming in and reviewing, or do you think most of them are sort of on autopilot with a decline and it goes out to the client and then that's it and there isn't anybody taking a look at it?
Yeah, I think the latter, because everybody is looking for speed these days, and they're looking to save money. And if I can save money turning on these automated systems, then that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be up to the borrower, or if there's a broker involved, to, once they get the decline, to reach out and say, "Hey, can I get someone to take a look at this?"
And then I'd like to touch on what you were just speaking about with ChatGPT and Plaid. Are there any security concerns, any privacy concerns with having ChatGPT analyzing your bank account? So I think there's kind of this understanding that when something goes out onto the internet or out into cyberspace, it's always there. So how do you feel about that? Are you comfortable
Well,
enough to connect ChatGPT to your bank accounts?
Well, I'm connecting ChatGPT to my bank account using Plaid. Plaid is the middleware there. And so ChatGPT can only see what it can see that Plaid gives it. It's not retaining that information. It can only see what Plaid allows. And if we allow Plaid to, it's our trust in Plaid and their guardrails. So if we allow Plaid to be able to connect to our accounts, there's no difference, because ChatGPT is simply just reading what Plaid has brought back. So I think the guardrails are already there.
Okay. So if you gave two businesses the exact same amount of funding, why would one potentially double their business while the other still struggled to grow, in your opinion?
Well, I think the audit that we would do to see what is going on with the company would help us to develop a plan of action once they get that money. What are you going to do with that money? In equipment finance, we're in the alternative commercial space. We don't sell rate. we're taught to sell the return on the investment. And I've created a calculator that actually shows a business owner what the return on the investment into a new piece of equipment, what that will actually do for the company's bottom line. Then you're going to have those customers that they're not going to take your advice. They got approved for the money. They want the money. They're going to do what they want to do with the money. So I think it's up to the individual client to decide, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to let it improve my bottom line or not. We can have the best intentions, and we've all been in, those of us in funding, we see customers that have the best intentions. I give you 100,000, I give you 100,000. This customer takes his 100,000 and he actually buys equipment or buys inventory that's actually putting it back in the business, where this customer, oh, I've got 100 grand. I really didn't need 100 grand, but they said I could get it. So I took it and I'm going to go buy a new car, or I might put this little bit back in the business and then I'll put this little bit back to start paying the debt off. So it's up to the individual client.
Is that factoring at all into the decision in underwriting, the story about how they're going to use the capital? When do
Oh,
you see that being a factor?
absolutely. That's one of the things that lenders ask. What is John going to do with this $100,000? And again, it's up to John. Are you going to be honest? Are you going to actually do with the money what you say you're going to do? Or are you just looking to get the money just because you can qualify to get it? And we see it on both sides.
So, as AI is becoming more accessible and business funding is continuing to evolve, what do you think the most successful businesses will be doing differently in 3 to 5 years?
Run by AI employees. I've got 40 that run my three businesses. So, and I think in the next, really in the next 18 months, I think we're going to see more and more companies, and I hate to say this, but it's what it is, replacing human workers. If I can spend $200 a month and build out a team of AI employees that can do what one person I'm paying 100 grand a year can do, it's a no-brainer for me. If I can train AI employees to do what I need and I can manage those AI employees, I don't need to spend 100 grand over here hiring human employees. So people say, oh, AI is taking jobs. Yeah, it is. But those people who actually learn how to use systems and tools are going to be the ones that are going to take the jobs that are being replaced, because somebody still has to run these systems and run these tools. So it's incumbent upon us to learn how to use just even the basic of tools, so that if it comes down to it where it's either you or your job, you've got a skill because you've learned how to use even the basic with tools, and you can figure out how to help your company improve their bottom line. So I just think it's gonna come down to AI employees.
So, for everybody listening, what would be the number one thing that they could do, say this week, today, tomorrow, to actually get started with AI tools in their business? What would you recommend?
I would recommend sitting down with ChatGPT and just brain dumping. There's free versions of ChatGPT, and when I say brain dump, hit that microphone and just start talking about everything about your business, any pain points you're experiencing, any good things that's happening with your business. Just give it context and just talk to it as if you're talking to a best friend. And tell ChatGPT, here's my brain dump for my business. What do you recommend to improve my situation? And it will give you a whole list of stuff that you can do or that you can't do. And so it gives you an idea. Oh, wow. It actually identified that if I do this based on what I said, I won't have this bottleneck anymore. So I think you could just, if you just brain dump with Chat GPT, you'll get a whole lot of information.
Any reason why ChatGPT? There's so many different flavors of AI out there that you can actually talk to and get answers from. Why is ChatGPT where you would send everyone first?
It's easy, and I think you'll get more bang if you're not willing to pay, if you're just looking to see where to start. I think you'll get more bang for your time by using Chat GPT, because even the free version or the $8 version is going to give you quite a bit of context than, say, using Claude's free version. Everything that I do in my office runs on Claude, but I have max subscriptions to Claude. But ChatGPT is a good place to start because it's basic and it's what I think everybody is familiar with. And you can graduate from whatever ChatGPT recommends, and maybe you can graduate to one of the other tools, Grok, Google Gemini, and then be able to actually pay for something because now you're going to see a return on that investment based on your conversation with ChatGPT.
I love that. Thank you, Cheryl, so much for joining us. Can you tell everybody listening? They might be listening and thinking, I want to talk to Cheryl. I want to see what she's up to. I want to bring Cheryl into my business. How can they follow you, connect to you on social, find you on the internet?
Um, I am on LinkedIn. All of my socials are the Cheryl Tibbs. TheCheryl, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm at the Cheryl Tibbs. You can find me on those socials. My funding business is Commercial Capital Connect. We're on LinkedIn. My AI educational business, which is where I would start if I'm interested in learning AI, is aimarvelsinc.com. So I would actually start there.
Fantastic. Cheryl, thanks again for joining us. This has been very enlightening. I love learning new things and hearing about technology. And everybody, you heard it right here from Cheryl. She's given you lots of great instructions on how to get started, starting with having AI get in and help you clean up your email, which I think is fantastic. So if you have that large inbox and that little red number staring you in the face every day, and you want to start with something simple, start there. Get out on ChatGPT, do a brain dump with AI and get some fantastic insights. And if you're thinking that you need a little something more, Cheryl's available to help come in and, as CAO, take a look at and break down your business. Cheryl, thanks again. Okay, everybody, until next time.